Okay, so in this next video, I'm going to be looking at the inferential and critical annotations. And I'm going to show you how to do that with Sports Illustrated Kids, and I think I'll probably pull in Girls Life as well a little bit later. So in the last video, you guys went through your magazines and you looked for some of those literal annotations. Those you're kind of zoomed out looking at the magazine as a whole. And when you're getting into the inferential annotations, you're going to dig into actually what it says. So you're going to go back into your magazine and you're going to read it. We're looking for things like, who is this? What is the purpose of this text? What's it trying to do? How is it targeting that audience? What are we looking at in terms of tone and voice? In terms of like the formal, is it formal or is it informal? What's the language being used here? And how does it appeal to the audience, right? Let's see if I can bring my camera a little closer so you can see the text a little bit better. So first thing I'm looking at here is, it's called freeze frame. And I'm noticing this little sidebar. So I might have put a annotation in there when I was doing literal annotations to notice this text. It says November 12th, 2024, Atlanta, Georgia. Jump for joy. Otega Owe had plenty to celebrate after Kentucky knocked off number 6 Duke 77-72 in the Champions Classic. The junior guard 00 made 4 free throws for the Wildcats in the closing seconds to ice the victory and finished with 15 points, much to the delight of his teammate Brandon Garrison. It was the first big win for new UK coach Mark Pope. So the language in this, I'm noticing, is pretty informal. But it's using sports terminology, which of course it would. This is a sports magazine, right? And it doesn't necessarily explain everything, right? So for example, it says 4 free throws. It is assuming that I know what that means. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about when we're looking for how does this reach the audience, right? This magazine would not be appropriate for somebody who doesn't love sports, right? Because I might not know what like how incredible that is to make 4 free throws. And if I don't know that, this is going to mean nothing to me. So it's kind of assuming some background knowledge in terms of the audience, right? I'm going to put an eye on that as an inferential note and stick that on the side of my magazine. This kind of format keeps going. There's a similar page here with a picture of, I think it's a Grand Prix race, F1. I'm going to keep going. I'm noticing an ad there. These are some like cards that you can actually tear out of the magazine. And I'm going to keep looking through here to do some annotations about layout, some annotations about purpose. Okay, so this is called warm-up. I'm noticing the appropriateness of the title to the topic of the magazine, right? Because we do warm-ups in sport. So that title of warm-up makes good sense in this context. It's very clever. The topic of this article, or the type of article, is hot take. What is a hot take? A hot take is like an opinion. So I'm going to guess that this is somebody's opinion. It says by Kip Shoremore, so the author is noted here. And it says, follow the golden rule. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred had floated a new golden at the bat rule, and the reviews are in. My instinct is that it's not about baseball, said Fox Sport reporter Ken Rosenthal. So I'm noticing there's a quote here. by a Fox Sports reporter. An expert, in other words. It's so ridiculous, I cannot even dignify it with an answer, scoffed talk radio legend Mike Francesca. That's a crazy idea, said MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred. Yes, Rob Manfred is now considering a rule change he once dismissed as a crazy idea on the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Goetz. For Manfred's many critics, disagreeing with himself represents the first time Manfred had ever been right about anything. The article keeps going, talking about this rule. And really what I'm trying to do is with my annotations is I'm trying to notice what's the author doing and how are they reaching their audience. Okay, so I'm going to add some more annotations to this to really show that I've understood that. By the way, it would be appropriate for you to add literal annotations now too, as you're reading the text, because you always want to understand what's it about, right? We have to understand what is it about before we can analyze what are they doing. I wanted to flip to this page to show an example of a infographic. So this is looking at Master of One. It talks about specialists who excel at a very specific thing. So did you guys watch the Olympics this summer? Did you see this guy? This guy was like, this was his thing, right? Pommel horse, his only sport, and he looks kind of nerdy, but he was really good at it. So the article really this article is looking at different people who are really good at specific things. And so I might be looking at the layout, I might be looking at the tone and the voice in this and making inferences based on that article. Okay, so when we look at the critical analysis, I'm going to bring back this issue of Girls' Life for this because I want to flip to this article here about skincare. So it says, are you secretly sabotaging your skin barrier? And when we're looking at critical annotations, we want to zoom out a little bit and think about audience and purpose for sure, but also connections that we have between the topic of the text, similar themes and topics, and ideas in other places, how it relates to your own experience. So possibly you have some experiences with skincare that you could relate it to, or other things that you've read or seen, TikToks you've seen, or Instagram reels that you've seen about skincare. And then dig in a little bit of critically into this. So when I say that, kind of what I mean is looking at this article from and being a little bit critical about it. So remember before how I said a magazine is trying to sell you something, right? So we have definitely some products here that it wants you to buy, right? And in fact, there are recommendations here of products that they think are good products for you to buy. But the other thing that is to think about the purpose of an article like this. What is it implying to the audience? It's, first of all, it's recognizing that this article is encouraging us to base our worth on how we look. Because it's talking about skincare as being something important that teenagers should care about, right? Teen girls should care about. So it's encouraging us to care about our outward appearances. And it's trying to sell us skincare products. And that is for sure a critical annotation, because I'm criticizing it, right? I'm being critical of what's going on here, trying to figure it out. Stereotypes is another good thing to look at, right? Even if we look at this cover, pink and red, a picture of a girl looking very polished. This is trying to reinforce stereotypes about girls. This one might be trying to reinforce stereotypes about boys, because although Sports Illustrated could be read by both boys and girls, I'm guessing that a lot of their audience is boys. So what kind of person is this magazine trying to encourage you to be? What is it trying to recommend or not recommend? What sorts of biases can you see in here? What kinds of people is it lifting up? And these could be good things too, right? Like this profile on the sports kid of the year, right? He volunteers to be to organize a basketball game for kids who need something to do after school. So this is somebody that they're encouraging us to look up to, encouraging you to look up to, and kind of be like him, right? Volunteer your time. But look for those kind of hidden messages in your critical annotations, and look for those different perspectives and different voices that are either in here or aren't in here. Good luck with your inferential and critical annotations.